My greatest fear is taking this life for granted, not actualizing my true God-given potential, falling victim to fear and not living or achieving my purpose, never overcoming my bad habits, my addictions, and my impulses. I have lost so much time to bad habits, fear, addictions, doubt, worry, second guessing the path ahead of me to even walking in my purpose. Now, there's a famous quote and it goes, when you die, hell is to meet the person you could have been and realize you are not even his shadow. If you're anything like me and you're watching this video, you're probably a high achiever. And I know you have goals and aspirations for your life. So I want to share with you this simple 3-step path to freeing yourself from the imprisonment of your own mind and the illusions society feeds us so you can unlock peace, presence, and freedom so you can leave the chains of the world behind and start walking the path God put you on this earth to walk. Now, before I jump into this surrender protocol for unlocking peace, presence, and freedom in your everyday life, I want to invite you to join my private Telegram. It's just a community where we can chat daily about living this life and bringing this transformation to life every day. If you want live updates and you want to chat with me and have a group of like-minded people, maybe even join me for live events, live streams to just chat and get surrender and God-oriented people together, click the first link in the description or the pinned comment. I'd love to see you in there. We're growing slowly but surely. Now, before we jump into the main transformational protocol, I want to make sure that we're on the same page about the key thing that needs to be transformed from within your state of being. The first most important thing you could ever do is surrender to God. Surrender to your higher power. I don't care what your higher power is, whether it's the universe, whether it's Jesus Christ, whether it's Brahman, whether it's Vishnu, whether it's Buddha. The whole reason these figures have even made it this far is because we must be able to wholeheartedly bend the knee for something. Think about it. If you are wholeheartedly invested in Jesus, you are going to sacrifice your entire identity for that, right? You're going to be willing to give up everything you are in the presence of something so divine. If you believe in Buddha, you believe in Krishna, you must sacrifice that self-centered, idealistic ego, because that is the thing preventing you from even beginning to walk this path. The issue with the New Age teachings and the issue with the neuroscience and the manifestation and the subconscious reprogramming is that continues to place the weight of the universe, the weight of the mystical teachings, the weight of the entire outcome on your being. You are identifying with the failure. In Matthew 6:24, it says, no one can serve two masters. So you are either going to serve the bondage of the material world. You're going to serve the lust. You're going to serve the material wealth. You're going to serve the validation. You're going to serve the pursuit of clout. You're going to be forever lost in the world of 10,000 things like it says in the Detaching, because you neglect the investment of going within your inner world to seek the kingdom of heaven first, which is what it says in Matthew 6:33. So when I talk about surrender, I'm not talking about doing nothing. I'm not talking about becoming hopeless. I'm not talking about losing faith. Surrender is an undivided allegiance to a truth bigger than yourself. The problem is not the world. The problem is your divided loyalty. Part of you wants the truth. But part of you also wants the comfort and the certainty of having these simple, easily accessible pleasures right here in this moment, right? Choosing to smoke that weed, or choosing to drink that alcohol, or choosing to have that sex is a more immediate release of the internal pressure building up because you're neglecting the pursuit of truth. You're neglecting to take the leap of faith where you give up 100% of who you are to walk this path. What they say is Jesus was the first teacher of the way. That's why they say Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Jesus is an ideal, a principle, a way of life. Jesus is beyond any form of material conceptualization. He is the ultimate manifestation of divinity. He is a frequency, an idea, a belief system that we have to consciously choose in everyday life. Just like all the other teachings. Literally, the Detaching means the way. How could you not ignore the synchronicities and patterns of these things? In Romans 12:2 it says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind." Once again, do not fall victim to the illusions that are given to you daily. The taxes, the endless work, the need to buy more to impress people that we don't even like. In the Upanishads, which is a Vedic text, it declares two things. It says, "That thou art." And it also says, "I am Brahman." Now, if you've never read these texts, essentially what it's saying is that the experience you seek, that thou art, is right here, right now, through the cessation of illusion, through the complete dissolution of all things false, to move beyond the conformity of this world, to move beyond the traps set before us. You come to the full recognition and realization that the state you seek was right here. But think about it. My aunt is like a Buddha. She's very wise, and she says life is like an onion. There's always a new layer to peel. But I want to build upon this. You must continue peeling the onion and surrendering everything that's false. Because when you truly fall into a state of surrender, you're saying, I'm willing to let go of all things that are not the truth. Well, the truth is like a lion. When you set it free, it will defend itself. So the truth is self-sustaining, right? Man was created in the image of God. Man is one with creation. I don't need to defend that. It is the truth. Like, look at this moment right now. I am the experience and the experiencer. There is no separation. If I'm perceiving any type of separation, it's because I'm engaging with the illusion of Grant. I'm engaging with my ego. I'm engaging with the things that separate me. And that is the greatest threat to your transformation. You are not becoming divine, right? That is spiritual, performative nonsense. Like, you're not here to flaunt your peacock feathers, right? If you're trying to attain a level of enlightenment, if you're trying to go flaunt your colors, that is the entire issue in the first place. You are seeking or trying to ascend a ladder that is outside of yourself. The whole point of these teachings is to recognize what you are. That's why Jesus says, don't ask me or pray for anything, because you have everything you need. Well, if you feel like you do not have what you need, that is an illusion. You are engaging with a more falsehood-oriented perspective. Gnosticism preserves this line in the Gospel of Thomas, and it says, "Whoever discovers the interpretation of these sayings will not taste death." The kingdom is inside of you and it is outside of you. You are an aware being. Some days you're going to be aware of your pain. Some days you're going to be aware of your suffering. But that is isolating your awareness and observing a tunnel vision perspective. You're saying, it is just me in these cosmos. But what if it's so much more? What if you are connected to life itself? Whoever discovers the interpretation of these sayings will not taste death. You are eternal in the state of presence. The Tao Te Ching states, "He who conquers others is strong, but he who conquers himself is mighty." I don't want to be strong. I want to be mighty, because I am my greatest enemy. There is no threat in the external world to the life I seek and desire than my own illusion, than my own ego, than my own lack of identification with the truth. We are no separate from the state we seek. And when we can truly fall into the state of awareness, we fall into unity with the wisdom that is bestowed upon us by the divine. We fall into the flow of consciousness. We fall into the flow of life. We fall into the river of eternal truth. But it is not something you go and seek. I'm not going to pin something on Google Maps and tell you to go find it, because you will never find that river of divinity. Because the river is right here coursing through you. The only thing preventing you from seeing it is your perception or lack of awareness. Surrender is self-mastery. Because to attain self-mastery, you must surrender all the things you are not. Think about that. To master the self. In order to do so, we must be aware of what the self is. And in order to attain what the self is, we must surrender that which is not. It is the end of inner negotiation. It is saying, I will not serve fear. I will not serve impulse. I will not serve distraction. I'm very passionate in this. I've spent all morning reflecting on this. I feel charged up with life to be having this conversation with you. You can probably feel the energy coming through the screen. In a lot of my videos, I'm very chill, I'm very laid back. But right now I'm charged. That doesn't make this video wrong. That doesn't make this video any different than the things I do. Because for me to perceive something as wrong, for me to perceive something with fear or distraction from the thing that I aim to do, which is be aligned with the truth and serve you in that capacity, is only illusion. Because peace begins when the inner war ends. This moment in time is as it should be for me. And for you watching this video, it is as it should be for your experience. Because that peace naturally arises when the inner war ends. The second thing we must do after we surrender to God or surrender to something bigger than ourselves is to detach from false identity. Right? The Upanishads diagnose the root problem as ignorance or avidya. When all desires that dwell in the heart are cast away, then the mortal becomes immortal. I'm going to read that one more time. When all desires that dwell in the heart are cast away, then the mortal becomes immortal. To need something from this moment distorts the beauty and connection to the thing you seek. Because in this moment exists what you are seeking. If you are seeking peace, and inner freedom and presence and beauty and bliss. That is something to be bestowed upon this moment, and it's not something you wake up and are like, I'm going to journal about this. I'm going to affirm that I wake up and I'm a loving individual here to change the world. No. That state is already yours. And if you're not experiencing it, it's because you're conforming to the illusions of this world. You're conforming to the fear. You're conforming to the things that prevent us from realizing, like, oh my God, this is my life and it's happening right before me. The greatest fear is that we're going to miss our life, the good and the bad and everything in between. And for us to be chasing something in a future moment, for us to be trying to change something about the now, for us to be focused on a desire in our heart that we do not have, is separating us. We are fragmenting ourselves into something that does not exist. But when we cast away those desires, the mortal becomes immortal. You become whole. Because to ruminate on lack, to desire, is feeling the void shape. But to cast it away and be like, I love my life. The good, the bad, and everything in between. And everything about this moment is as it should be. To fall into total acceptance is when the illusion falls away. Because when you're not trying to attain something good, when you're not trying to run away from something bad, and you're just present in this moment, the truth unveils itself to you. You're going to see the inner workings of your divinity. You're going to see the magic that exists right here, right now. Desire means compulsive identification, right? You are not your cravings. That is just you seeking alleviation from the need to be somewhere else in this exact moment. If you want to smoke weed, or you want to drink, or you want to watch porn, or you want to engage with your bad habits, it's because you are not at peace or present with your circumstances, so you need an external source of pleasure to change this moment so you can make peace with it. You are not your fear. It's okay to be afraid. It's okay to entertain the ideas that this might not work out. But those too must be surrendered. And not only must they be surrendered, but you must walk despite that fear. It says, as a man acts, so he becomes. Identity drives action. Gnosticism thought calls this forgetfulness. In the Gospel of Thomas, it says, if you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you have the courage to let go of everything, just for a chance at bringing forth what is this within you, it will save you. It's like a life vest. You jump into the ocean and you are okay to drown because you know that you will be okay. And in that moment is a cessation of life. It is a inspiration. Everything is restored. The entirety of this moment floods back to you with truth, with bliss, with love. Everything about your life is repatterned. In Luke 17:21, I talk about this in every video. The kingdom of God is within you. In Romans 8:6, Paul says, to set the mind on the flesh is death, but to set the mind on the spirit is life and peace. The material world, the flesh, is always decaying. It is always changing. It is a cycle of birth and death. You will fall in love, you will fall out of love. You will have success, you will lose success. You will be in shape, you will gain weight. To set the mind on that is death, because it is mortal. It is ever changing. We are never able to find some sense of peace or a rock or a stable foundation in that focus. But to set the mind on the spirit is life and peace. Because to unveil the eternal thing that is permanently here allows you to rest easy. Because even on your bad days, you're going to be like, hey, it's just another bad day. It's just another thing to surrender. And I now have a protocol to tap back in with the thing that is eternal within my own being. Taoism states that knowing others is intelligence, but to know yourself is true wisdom. The moment you step back and witness your impulses instead of obeying them, you regain authority. Presence is awareness without identification. That is how time is redeemed. Lost years collapse when unconscious repetition stops. You stop ruminating on all these past events. You stop worrying about the future. That's how God restores lost time. Because it is the complete death of the illusion. To ruminate on those moments in the past are distortions of things that no longer exist. To want something out of the future is to cast your lack of joy, peace, and presence into a moment that is forever fleeting, that is not promised. Third and final piece of this transformational framework is that you must align action with this revelation of the inner kingdom. Realization must become embodiment. Christ says in Matthew 7:24, "Everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock." Hearing is not enough. Watching this YouTube video is not enough. Application anchors the foundation. That is why no person could ever sell you a self-help product. It is self-help. All the teachers, all the sages, all the mystics, all they can do is try and provide a framework for you. But the true thing you seek is access to the state. To be in the presence of someone who has tasted what you seek. To be in the presence of someone or something who can distill this wisdom into an experience for you. Because it's only when you have that internal reorientation, that moment in time where it feels like you caught lightning in a bottle, the moment in time where all noise falls away and you fall into the present moment that is this life, will you have reference to the kingdom that is within. Truth must be lived. In the Detaching it says, "He who knows does not speak. He who speaks does not know." Because the people who speak and debate are trying to justify something because of the lack of truth in what they identify with. There are so many people in my comments that are defending something for themselves. Because I really do not care what you have to say about me, what you have to juxtapose my wisdom with. Because I am not focused on the debate of theology. I am focused on the experience of the eternal wisdom that is in my experience. So if I know this is the path, and if you know this is the path, why would you ever allow an external source, an external person, an external opinion sway you off what you know to be true? Realization is proven in your way of being, not in performance. So if you truly want to experience the peace, presence, and freedom, I encourage you to stop being performative about it, to stop posting on your stories, stop negotiating with different religions and trying to anoint your one true king. And maybe you go in and address the things and the uncomfortable feelings that are causing you to project that in the first place. This is the truth, and this is the way. Gnosticism emphasizes awakening as transformation of life. not theory. We're not here to be on a whiteboard talking about theory. We're here to emphasize awakening as transformation of life. You're probably gonna be like, Grant, he who does not speak knows. He who speaks does not know. You have a YouTube channel. You run your mouth. For me, this is my embodiment. This is my way of life. I am choosing to make this my career. I am choosing to make this the thing that I devote my entire life to. If I disappear and do not post for 3 months, that's not because I forgot. That's because I'm on a path of inner transformation. I will not come on here and turn on the camera and bullshit you. There's going to be days where I'm ultimately peaceful. I'm ultimately in the flow. And there are going to be days where I'm charged in my conviction and I am ready to build. I am ready to be someone on your journey. I'm trying to be a catalyst for your transformation. When surrender stabilizes peace and detachment restores identity, your action will flow from that alignment. When you surrender all the illusions and you surrender the chaos of your inner world, your nervous system is going to become peaceful. You're going to have that calm center to operate from. And anything that threatens that peace must be surrendered, must be let go of, must be disengaged with. If you've got people and you don't like their energy and you continue to let them in your life, you must cut them out. If you've got habits that throw you off your center and cause you to make more bad decisions, whether you're smoking or drinking and you go snack and you sleep with people you don't want to sleep with, you must cut those things out of your life. You must surrender them. You must be willing to say, God, I'm willing to give you everything that I am, everything that I seek pleasure in, everything that I seek validation and my ego aims to identify with, I'm willing to give up and put on the cross and crucify. And through that detachment, you will restore your identity. You will realize that you no longer are chained to these things. Those things no longer have control over you. You no longer identify with being a pothead. You no longer identify with being a partier. You no longer identify with being a booty call. You no longer identify with being an entrepreneur or a clout-chasing social media creator. You become so ultimately present with your life. You have no need to negotiate or debate the decisions you make, the habits you align with, the discipline and way of life you choose. Discipline will become natural. Purpose becomes clear, addictions weaken, because freedom is not rebellion, it is alignment. To follow that peace, to follow that presence, to follow that inner intuitive knowing and your connection to something bigger than yourself is the greatest form of self-respect you could ever walk with. Because not only are you choosing to respect yourself, but you are choosing to respect God, who's communicating to you. Now, the institutions of this world are not the ultimate prison. The Instagrams, the Apples, the churches, the 9-to-5 corporate jobs. The greatest threat in prison is your own divided loyalties. Because it is the spiritual path you must choose first and always. Because it is the thing that reorientates your entire experience in the world. Divided loyalty is conforming to the world, blaming social media, blaming circumstances, blaming politics, blaming your boss. Nope. You cannot solve external chaos without internal order. Christ says, seek first the kingdom. The Upanishads say, you are that. Gnosis says, awaken what is within. And the Tao says, align with the way. I don't know about you, but they all seem like they're pointing to the same thing. So maybe we stop negotiating. Maybe we stop pointing our fingers and casting blame and throwing rocks. And maybe it is time to go within and seek the kingdom of heaven first, because all shall be added unto you. The thread is singular. Peace presence, and freedom are yours to be had. And when allegiance becomes undivided, God makes up for lost time. Because nothing accelerates life like alignment with truth. Your entire life will be reoriented in the moment you awaken the kingdom of heaven that is within. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so excited to continue walking with you on this journey. Once again, go check out the Telegram link in the bio. It will be pinned first in the description. If you want to actually walk this path, and if you are tired of waiting for things to get good, and you are tired of diving into endless books and endless teachings, I aim to be a catalyst on this journey because I cannot do the work for you must help yourself. But I aim to be a guide that can create a container in which you have access to the resources and protocols you need to change. So enter that free Telegram chat. We're going to be chatting. I send you messages every day. You're going to get first access to when I go live. And I look forward to seeing you in there. Got nothing but love for you guys. Peace.